And then
Yeah, we have.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to my third community meeting. It's great to see all of you here, and I'm excited to hear your questions about things that have been going on here in the district, and just receive feedback on some of the things that have happened in the council office, or at the city council level. And then also today we have a guest speaker from the waterfront. Jeff Jones has come down to talk to us about working down and having a business quality seafood at the waterfront, but also he's become the new president of the King Harbor Association, which is the tenants association for all of the businesses down at the waterfront. They have been in existence, I don't know how long, a long time, many decades, but he has some exciting ideas of how to make it better down there and getting everybody united behind some upcoming activation things. So first, just a couple of hot topics that have come up to the City Council. I'll start with the Olympic Committee. I'm actually on the Olympic Committee with Council Member Chadwick in District 3, as well as the mayor. And overall, there are about 20 different individuals from the city, including the fire department, police department, as well as some outside people like Alan Sanford from the California Surf Club. We have members from the Tourism Bureau here that are also on it. And what that committee is doing, we're not going to have any Olympic events in Redondo Beach, but what we're trying to do is work with the Olympic Committee to bring businesses and tourists into Redondo Beach. So one of the things will be hosting potential teams. So as teams come out, they'll, depending on the sport, they may stay a month or two in LA in preparation for the games. We're trying to get them to come to Redondo Beach. So one of the first groups that we had come through last Monday was the New Zealand sailing team. So they need to come, set up, get acclimated to Los Angeles, but also practice. So, having our marina right here we're one of the few locations where that would all work out for them. They're looking at a couple of other sites. I believe it was Long Beach and maybe Marina Del Rey. So those are the sites that they're looking, but teams are already coming out to make plans for the summer of 28. In the meeting a couple of weeks ago, we approved a $40,000 marketing contract, and that's basically to put together the marketing material for Redondo Beach that we'll then send out to various national teams to try to get them to come look at Redondo when they come to LA. A lot of those teams will come in August and September, so that's, although we're 3 years ahead of the Olympics, they're making those decisions right now about where they'll be in a couple of years. We have a couple of other meetings coming up. One of the things that I helped work on that committee was actually putting together the list of potential venues. So in addition to the hosting the teams, we're going to be having things like watch parties. So where could we have those, like at the Performing Arts Center up in District 5, the waterfront here, maybe something down in the Riviera. But I worked with Elizabeth House, our community services director, to put together a list of, let's call them assets that the city has, some parks, other things like that, where we could have different types of events. So we're still in the brainstorming phase, but we're trying to put together that list of things that we could possibly do, and to help bring the Olympics and help the residents of Redondo Beach celebrate the Olympics in a couple of years. The next big item that came up in council was the cannabis survey. So the city back in March had approved the actual ordinance for cannabis in Redondo Beach. And reading through it, they had incorporated a lot of the issues and concerns of residents that had come up over the last several years. So things like distances from schools. I believe it's 1,500 feet from any school. So what happens in District 2, because we have the high school, Paris Middle School, we have Barrel, and then even down in the south, they included Bishop Montgomery. So there's distance from Bishop Montgomery, even though they're not in Redondo, that covers up a large swath of District 2 down at the bottom. So what happens, there are only a couple of spots within District 2 where it would be possible to have a retail location based on the ordinance. The other excluded area is the waterfront, so nothing down at the waterfront. So what ends up happening, of the, let's say, 10 locations roughly where it would be possible, probably only one would, from an economic standpoint, meaning like there's lots of retail traffic, one would work, but it doesn't have any parking. There's limited parking, so the parking requirement basically negates that location. So really in District 2, there's not really a great location for a retail cannabis store. And so in the survey that I put out in my newsletter, it was to ask not if you were in favor of cannabis, but would you be okay with the city council approving opening up the licensing process for one retail location in South Redondo, and it would basically have to go in District 1. So it's not going to be in District 2, and that was really the question. So I'll put together a little video on it, but basically with the survey results, about a third are for it, about a third are against it, and about a third are in the middle. So it was very helpful so it's like, it was roughly 35 against, 35% for, and 30% sort of somewhere in the middle, which I thought was really interesting because that was my general sense that, and even canvassing when I was going around knocking on doors, most people didn't bring it up. And those, I mean, maybe 10 people out of 1,600 people brought up cannabis. Everyone was concerned about e-bikes, the power plant, things like that, other things around the harbor, the pier. So, it doesn't seem to be a really top of mind issue for most people. And so I wanted to get some feedback from you. But that was sort of the results of the survey. So it wasn't clear as mud. So.
One question, where's the demarcation line? Because
it's well, it's down at the waterfront. So like all of the pier, the marinas, Harbor Drive. I know a couple of years ago there was, I can't remember the name of this company, but when we had the cannabis.
Elliott Lewis.
What was his company?
Schmucks.
Schmuck 101.
Yeah. So Elliott, I remember, I think he had a location down on the waterfront, but even that is excluded in this current map. So, again, in District 2, because they expanded, originally they were maybe 500 feet or 1,000 feet from the school, now it's 1,500. But basically all of District 2 is virtually wiped out. There are a couple of buildings on Torrance Boulevard, but those are near the intersection with Camino Real. And those are all occupied by long-term businesses that are, they're not going anywhere, they're fully occupied. So, de facto, they aren't available for somebody to lease today or buy today to use for cannabis. So the next step from the city council standpoint, we decided to take a survey of all of Redondo Beach to see how all the residents felt. And we have to allocate money for that later this year to do that actual survey, and then we'll see what the survey says for the entire city. But in District 2, we're sort of split down the middle.